Namaskar. We all have many ambitions in lives. We want to achieve many things. How to achieve success in our lives? This is the topic of today's discussion. How to achieve what you want to achieve. Layden, a famous management thinker, he says that in ultimate analysis, all management is human resource management, and human resource management is all about self-management. So self-management or self-discipline holds the key to success. Risk taking is very important in life. There is a saying that no risk, no gain. I'll start with a small story. A farmer was sitting next to his field when one passerby asked him, "What have you planted this year in your fields? Have you planted rice?" He says, "No, I have not planted rice because there was a weather forecast that this year we are not going to have proper rains." Then the person asked, "Have you planted wheat?" He says, "No, I have not planted wheat as well because I learned that rodent population has increased and they will eat away all the seeds that I'll be sowing in my field." Then the passerby said, "What have you planted this year?" He says, "I have not planted anything. I have played safe." Will this kind of approach help him gaining anything in life? Unless and until we take a plunge into action, we take action, we cannot achieve success. Can anyone learn swimming by taking up correspondence courses? Unless and until a person takes a plunge into the pool, he or she will never be able to achieve success in learning swimming. No one learns cycling by taking correspondence courses. So basically, we have to take little bit of risk in our lives if you want to achieve something. There is a saying that boats are safe in the harbor, but that's not the place they are meant for. So little bit of risk taking is important if you want to achieve something in life. Limit your goals and be focused. It is very important that we have very clear cut goals before us and we remain focused. We all have uh, heard the stories of Mungeri Lal. Mungeri Lal ke Haseen Sapne. At one point of time, he would think of becoming Sachin Tendulkar. Next moment, he'll put himself in the situation of Amitabh Bachchan. He would like to, be a superstar like Amitabh Bachchan. But when his dream breaks, does he achieve anything? Basically, we have to remain focused. I'll share this story: what to leave and when to leave. How monkeys are caught in South India. We all know that monkeys are a big menace, especially for agriculturalists. In South, they have devised a very good indigenous system to catch monkeys. They would tie a small coconut shell on a tree and they put a small hole in that, and inside that they put some peanuts. Monkeys, knowing well that there are peanuts inside this coconut shell, they put their hand like this, pick up peanuts, and they try to bring their hands out. But they are not able to take their hands out because their hand now it converts into kind of fist, and they are not willing to drop those peanuts there. And in that process, they get caught. We human beings are evolved from that stage. Obviously, we should know what to leave, what to grab. Obviously, we need to drop those peanuts if we want to achieve bigger things in our lives. There's another story we all have witnessed live in streets many a times. Whenever any car or motorbike passes by, dogs give it a solid chase. One friend asked his friend, "I wonder if this dog will ever be able to catch this car." The friend replied, "I'm not bothered whether this dog will ever be able to catch a car or not. What bothers me is if this dog is able to catch this car, what he's going to do with this car." We haven't seen dogs driving cars. We haven't seen dogs eating car. So why give chase for useless activities? So we human beings, of course, are much superior. We have to, channelize our energies in right direction, which are useful, which is going to give us some benefits. Changing useless activities is not really required. Then do not let slips add up. Stop giving concessions to yourself. Many times we decide that we are going to do this, but then we start giving concessions to ourselves. Okay, if not 100%, 50%, if not 50%, a little less. And then our resolve fail. Every year on 31st December night, people come out with New Year resolutions. I also had a friend who was a chain smoker. He would say, now this is the last cigarette I'm going to smoke, and from 1st January, I will not touch. So he would finish all his cigarettes from his packet and he says, now from 1st January, I will not smoke. All right, I met him on 1st January. I didn't see him smoking. 5th January, I saw him smoking. Then he says, actually, one cigarette, it is difficult to give up such a old habit. So I'm just smoking one cigarette. After a month, I saw him, again smoking. He says, I was going through one article in one of the health magazines, and it says up to 5 cigarettes one can smoke. It doesn't affect your health. All right, and as time ebbed by, my friend continued with the chain smoking, and again 31st December. So he was telling me that it's easy to give up smoking. I have given it up several times. So once we start giving concessions to ourselves, then of course we cannot achieve success in our lives. Nibble at a big task, think big. All management experts, motivational thinkers, they say think big. What we think, we become. We all know that Shakespeare has contributed immensely to English literature, and people say that it is not possible to read all his work uh, in one's lifetime. But a research study suggests that if we devote 15 minutes per day for reading his work, within 1 year time, we can complete that. So nothing is impossible if we change something with good discipline. And we have to think big, but we should also remember that longest journey starts with a single step. Small, small steps, if we take in the direction of achieving our targets, we'll end up succeeding, we'll end up achieving our targets successfully. Be a stoic. Never be a despondent when you do not achieve success, and do not go mad with joy when you achieve success. In Gita, Lord Krishna calls this state of mind as sthiti pragya. Develop a mental attitude where you can endure pains, unhappiness, and all kind of frustration, and also do not get mad when you achieve success in life. Be a sthiti pragya. Be a stoical. Have a stoical approach. I would like to quote the story of Captain Vikram Batra, who made supreme sacrifice for the country during Kargil war, and he was posthumously awarded with Paramveer Chakra. There was enemy on the top of the hill. They had the advantage of being on the top in Kargil heights. They keep killing our people there, and it was not against the fight against those enemies, but it was a fight against nature also. Our people were going on this barren land, climbing up against nature's adversities, and they could easily spot from the top that these Indian army people are coming, so they would kill them. Many times they did not even waste their bullets, they simply rolled down big stones and killed our people like that. There was a panic in the Indian army. Then comes this young officer from Indian army who had just passed out from Indian military academy. He says, I will lead my team to this Kargil heights, and I will take the responsibility of getting back our post from the enemy. Captain Vikram Batra started his ascent with his small group of soldiers. Commandant cautioned him, be careful, Vikram, because you do not know where they are sitting, but they can easily spot you. He said, nothing to worry, sir. I'll go there, take back our post, and I'll flash a message. And my code will be Ye Dil Mange More. Captain Vikram Batra goes to those heights successfully with his teammates, has face-to-face fights with enemies, captures Indian post, and from there he flashes a message, Ye Dil Mange More. Commandant says, well done, Vikram, great job. You must be tired, you must be running short of this supplies. So now take rest, stay put in that bunker, in that post. He says, no sir, ye dil mange more, literally. I can see enemy still occupying our second post. I would like to go there also. So against the wishes of his commanding officer, he leads his group to recapture Indian post from enemy's clutches successfully. Again he flashes a message, Sir ye dil mange more. And he continues. Now he did not have sufficient ration supply, he did not have sufficient ammunition. He goes on capturing third post also, but before he could flash the message to his CO, commanding officer, that ye dil mange more, he had already made supreme sacrifice for the country. Against such kind of adverse situations, he could achieve. In army, there is a saying that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So be a stoic, whether in pain or pleasure, our attitude should not change. There is a saying that adversity is the prosperity of the great. Burn your bridges. Another very important point you need to keep in mind when we are striving to achieve some targets. Stalin did it during Second World War when Germans had created havoc throughout the Europe. A small Russian army was facing mighty German forces on the other side of the Volga River. Germans were trying to enter Leningrad, and this small force, Russian forces, were fighting these mighty Germans. They flashed a message to their chiefs, to their commanders, we are facing a difficult task. We are facing these mighty Germans. We are reduced to a very small number. Now what to do? Stalin, who himself was supervising all these operations, he asked his subordinates to burn this bridge over River Volga. When I share this story, I ask my students many times, was it a good decision? People say, yes, it was a good decision, because had that bridge not been burned, Germans could have entered Leningrad. They are right. Some say it was not a good decision because Stalin made all his soldiers scapegoat. He didn't care for them. So it's a difficult kind of situation. But I feel that it was a historical decision. After that bridge was burnt, those soldiers who were left there fighting Germans, they had no option to go back. So it was do or die. And they created a history, they scripted a new history. Germans were forced to make a retreat from there. They fought with full might, these Russian soldiers, because it was do or die for them. So if we are going on a particular path to achieve certain targets, we have to burn our bridges. We should not come back again. We have to move forward. No looking back. Tina, there is no alternative. That should be the approach once we have decided to go ahead with something. Time yourself. Timing is very important. Time management is a very important topic. In Gita, it says, Ya Nisa Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Sayami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutanam Sa Nisya Pasyato Muni. It is not necessary that all the people will work with the same kind of body clock. We have to identify what is the time when we can give our best. Do we belong to this owl category or I'm a lark? For example, I'm an owl. I can concentrate better during late hours or maybe in the night also I can work till 3, 4, but I cannot do some very serious work in the early hours of the morning. But at the same time, there are people who belong to this lark category who are very focused during early hours, who can really think very creatively in the morning hours. So we have to uh, you know plan our work according to our own body clock. Owls may have to plan things during late hours, and larks early hours suit them best. Again, we have to go for VUDA analysis. V for valuable activities, U for useful activities, D doubtful activities, and A is avoidable activities. So at a workplace, we have to make a list of the activities that we have been assigned. Certain valuable activities have to be taken up first. First, valuable activities, useful activities, and there are many activities where we are not very sure whether it is valuable, whether it is useful, or it is useless. So we'll have to analyze what to do with this kind of activities, how much time to give for this. And there are certain activities which can be avoided, which can be delegated downwards. We need not involve ourselves in those. So wood analysis we have to do, and accordingly we manage our time, which is very, very important, because time is a resource which never can be regained. Stephen Covey says, first thing first, we have to prioritize our activities on the basis of their importance. So VUDA analysis will help you in deciding what should come first. Attitude, a lot of people talk about attitude, and Henry Ford Sr., he said, what we think we become. If we think we can, we'll end up achieving those things. So attitude is like those gases that make a balloon go up. A person without attitude cannot achieve success in their lives. Think of Stephen Hawking, the great physicist. His complete body was paralyzed. He was on a wheelchair throughout his life. He could not even speak. He used to speak with the help of machines. The only one thing he had, his brain, which was not paralyzed. And he fully realized that, okay, I may be paralyzed, I may be handicapped, but my brain is not handicapped. And he continued working. What an attitude. And till his last breath, he was spending a lot of time in his lab. Think of Tenzing Norgay, who made the history by climbing Everest, first person to climb Everest. And when he climbed Everest, we were not sure whether human beings can endure that kind of difficult situation, whether human beings can survive at such great heights. He failed many times. In his fifth ascent, he reached up to this North Pole, South Pole. From there, summit is just few meters away. But his teammates fell short of these oxygen cylinders. They had to give up their ascent to summit. But he said, all right, if not this time, maybe next time. And during his seventh ascent, he could achieve this success. And what a modest statement he gave. Seventh time have I tried, not to conquer it, but to be in the lap of Mother Nature. So we have to have that kind of passion, love for our targets. When we talk about attitude, we are surrounded by a lot of people who are negative and who can also influence our positive attitude. I'll share a story that is mentioned in Shiv Khera's book, You Can Win. There were two friends. One of them was extremely negative. This negative friend would never be impressed with anything. So his positive friend says, I must reform my negative friend. I must change his attitude. So one day he procured a very different kind of a dog who had a very unique quality of walking on the water. We all know that these dogs cannot walk on water, dogs swim. So he took his negative friend on a riverside for a picnic, and he said, let us kill some birds. So he killed one bird on the other side of the river, ordered his dog, go and fetch that kill. Dog walks on the river water, goes on the other side, fetches that gill, and brings it to his master. Then positive friend asks his negative friend, "Did you observe something?" He says, "Yeah, I observed. Your dog cannot swim." He could not appreciate this unique quality of that dog, that it can walk on the water, but still he could identify that negativity, that dog cannot swim. So basically, we have a lot of negativity around us. We have to immune ourselves against this kind of negativity, and at the same time, we should try to spread positive attitude, because it is the attitude that determines your altitude. There are three major obstacles to self discipline: parental spoilage, perfectionism, and feeling of inferiority. When I say first parental spoilage, when I ask my young students, do you agree that your parents have spoiled you? Invariably answer comes, no, how can it be? Our parents love us so much, they have never spoiled us. We cannot blame our parents. But then I share this research findings, which was carried out by a group of researchers. They studied the behavior of Indian mothers and Israeli mothers. They came to India and studied Indian mothers, how they groom their small children, how Indian mothers teach small children how to walk on their own feet. This is a very common thing, we all must have observed this in our own houses. When a small child tries to walk on his or her own feet, Indian mother will not go far from her. She will always be ready to pick her up if that child falls down. Now, in this process of taking few steps, child falls down, child starts crying. What Indian mother will do? She will rush to that child, pick her up in her arm. Child is still not amused, still crying. Indian mother would like to give her some chocolates, some milk. She will try everything to please her, but still, child is not happy. Then, I'm sure you all have observed this uh, in India. Then finally, when mother knows that this child is not, amused, then she starts beating the floor. Oh, this floor made my child fall. And now child is happy. Yes, it's not because of my fault that I fell down. It is because of this floor that made me fall. Remember, first 5 years in human life are the formative years. This is the time when we develop our value system. And once this value system is formed, it always remains. It always guides our behavior. Contrary to Indian mothers' behavior, Israeli mothers, they would keep the child on the other end. Baby, just come. Alright, baby takes few steps, falls down, cries, looks here and there for help. Seeing no help coming forward, baby stands up, starts taking further steps. See the difference? We Indians, I have grown up in India. I have grown up with this mindset that I can never be wrong. If I perform very poorly in some interview, I will not tell my wife or my daughters that, look, I was not fully prepared. I did not prepare for this interview, so I failed. The first thing that comes to my mind is how to, I'll say, no, that position was already fixed. Somebody else was there. People came with a lot of, push and pull. All these things worked. I will never accept that I failed because I did not prepare well. Whereas Israeli child, they get this thing in the value system that nobody will be able to help me. I have to help myself. I'll share a true story. Few years back, a group of about 25 foreign tourists. They came to India, they were touring this Kashmir sector, and they were kidnapped by those extremists. They were under the captivity of these terrorists for a long time. Out of these international tourists, there were two tourists from Israel also. While other tourists almost reconciled to their situation that we cannot help now, these two Israeli people were looking for an opportunity to come out of this captivity. After almost 1 month, you know, being being as hostages, they could find one such opportunity when these terrorists were coming to feed them. Realizing that this is the right time, they pounced on them, they snatched their weapons, killed them, and fled from this captivity. Because they know, they have grown up with this kind of mindset that it is we who can help us, no other person can help, right? So when I share this story, when they share this research finding with the people, then they realize, yes, to some extent we'll say that our parents have spoiled us. Second, the feeling of perfectionism. Many times we have a feeling that we will perform something or we will deliver something only when we become expert. That fear of failure is very high in our minds. Remember, गिरते हैं सहसवार ही मैदानी जंग में, वो तिफल क्या गिरेंगे जो घुटनों के बल चले. Failure and success, they are part of lives. So that fear for failure should not be there, and I very strongly believe that doing is more important than doing well. We should not wait to become the perfect. Perfectionism or perfection is never reached. In Gitanjali, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore has written a small poem, how gods have made a garland by picking up the best of the stars from the galaxy. In that process, the most beautiful star fell apart and it was lying in a corner when gods were rejoicing that we have made the most perfect garland out of these stars by picking up these selected stars. This star is laughing at them. Look, the best star is not there in this garland and they are rejoicing. So even gods cannot achieve perfection. So why go for that? We should, perfection automatically comes. Practice makes a man perfect. So do not hesitate in doing things even if you are not perfect. So this is second obstacle that comes in our self-discipline. And third is feeling of inferiority. Many times we feel that we are inferior, we are not able to, we do not have this right kind of qualification and all that. I again remind you the quote of Henry Ford, what we think we become. This is a very popular story of Mahatma Gandhi when he went to attend this round table conference. He had to attend one dinner also in the palace with the King of England. Churchill hated Gandhi like anything, and Gandhiji would always be going in that loincloth single piece. Churchill didn't like this. In fact, Churchill never liked Gandhiji. So he goes and tells the king, the empire, Sire, look at this half-naked fakir. He has come in the same dress. Don't you think that he is insulting this, very important event by coming in that, wretched dress? Of course, the king was a little more polite. He said, yeah, that's true, Churchill. Let me convey this to him. Then he says, Mr. Gandhi, don't you think that this dress is not really, proper for the cold, this winter, this winter of England? Gandhiji was very clever, very smart. He didn't take any time in realizing that basically this dress is, they are offended by this. He said, I fully agree, Your Majesty. that this dress is not suitable for this kind of occasion when a large number of great people are around. But you cannot blame me for that. If at all you have to blame someone for this, blame your government for this, because this is what they have left with we Indians. What a confidence, what a courage to speak these words to the emperor of an empire where sun never set. We need to have that kind of confidence. We need not feel inferior in front of anybody. I'll share another story of Swami Vivekanand. He was traveling in first class compartment with a very valid ticket. Another British chap was also traveling in the same train. He didn't like that rulers and their subjects travel in the same compartment. He told Vivekananda ji, तुम दूसरे कंपार्टमेंट में जाओ. He told this in Hindi to Swamiji, तुम दूसरे कंपार्टमेंट में जाओ. Swamiji replied very politely, I may follow your advice, but please speak to me with respect. Say आप दूसरे compartment में जाओ. Now this Britisher was little, he was on defensive. He said, hey man, I don't know your language. Now Swami Vivekananda responded in English, gentlemen, you not only know my language, you do not know your language as well. Otherwise, you would have addressed me as gentleman, I don't know your language. So teaching English to a Britisher, only people like Swami Vivekananda can do that. So we need to have that kind of confidence. Never feel inferior in front of anybody. We all are human beings, have the same qualities. It is just our thinking that makes us big or small. I would like to close with Swami Vivekananda's quote, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Let us do a lion's walk. What we have discussed, I'm sure you all have seen lions walking. May not be in jungle, but at least in zoo you must have seen. Lion takes few steps forwards and then looks back. Review. So let us review what we have done. We started with Reddin's quote. In ultimate analysis, it is the management, right? Then we talked about taking risk. We discussed we need to have limited goals and we need to be focused, no concessions, think big. Stoical approach is important to achieve success in life. Of course, once we have chosen a path, no looking back, burn your bridges, and we have to move forward with positive attitude, because this is that attitude determines your altitude. And also we discussed 3 major obstacles that come in the way of self-discipline, and we need to overcome that. Thank you. Thank you very much.